wanders out of the forest and has to find food. Tries to do it peacefully but finds you. And you tried to, but he tried harder, and your eyes lose that shine in the iris and behind it too. Your life is through, sorry that was the eventuality. It's all gravity and causality, fatality, animality. Call it what you want to, but you should probably head for that light. I think God wants you. If you end up in hell, I hope I haunt you. I'm just another portal for demons to spawn through. Make way for the dogs of war. Make way for the dogs of war. Make way for the dogs of war.
All right, so you got a pretty interesting backstory. You met some pretty big names in the horrorcore scene at a pretty early stage in your career. You want to talk a little bit about that quickly?
No, true indeed. The very beginning of my career. I mean, so I went to the 2003 gathering. I had planned to do the MC contest. I didn't do it. 2004, I went and I was staying in the Diamond Rain district, which, if you knew the area, Crystal Forest, is right up near the main stage. And I talk about this on Walk of Shame on Chemical Threats 4 or Chemical Threats 3, I think, whichever it was. But I seen the Green Villain just headbutt the fucking shit out of somebody and fucking almost killed him, apparently. But we started working with Low Key. Somehow, somebody that I knew got the song in front of him. I guess it was the day Hell's Pit was released. And it was Hatchet Radio. So that was because I'm just trying to go through it fast. But fucking Jay hears it. I go out there, and it was a crazy experience. Just again, I was a 17-year-old juggalo, 19. I'm sorry, but not like I wasn't prepared for that shit. I mean, come on. I've been listening. Like, there was a time for sure where juggalos really considered Jay and Shaggy to be much larger than life. They've been very humanized over the last several years.
Yeah.
Especially with Jay announcing that he had the heart condition.
It was more like the Wizard of Oz back in the 90s.
That's kind of what I'm saying, is that there was a much bigger veil, I suppose. And just that experience was really just the amount of different things that you see, and that, like, it's crazy how it happened, because I went by Darkness at the time, and Jay is like, oh, if you want to work with us, you gotta change that name because there's that 80s band, they suck, so it would be that. And there may have been truth to that, but I think Darkness is also kind of a corny name. So when he suggested Mad Max, it was just like, I mean, that's solid. It tracks. And to me, I like it at this point because it's my real name. My name's real. Like, people ask me, is your name really Max? I'm like, yeah, yes, absolutely. And I just, it does feel that it was fitting, but
You're a fan of old school MTV cartoons, right?
Yeah, of course.
Remember the Max?
Yeah, bro. Look, let me see if I can. Can you see that?
Yeah, dude.
That's an is.
Oh, fuck yeah, dude. That's awesome. That just makes your name so much cooler that there's that attachment too.
Well, so that was an interesting story where around COVID times, there was a friend of mine in Salem, and so I would be there occasionally. And I was just walking through town. I mean, it wasn't even so much that as much it was just my kids were in school. I was on unemployment because fucking Uber workers and whatnot were getting there, and I was the only person taking care of the kids once they got home from school. So I had a chance to do it, so I was out doing it. And this fucking tattoo parlor, the place was full of like Soul Calibur weapons. Like the doors were all adorned with all kinds of crazy shit. And for whatever reason, I was just drawn to it. So I was like, fuck it. And then I can't remember if it opened or if I tapped it and then somebody actually came and opened it. But the guy that I was talking to, he had fucking the Maxx like tattooed heavy down his leg. And then I was talking to him, and like the Maxx was one of the reasons that he started fucking like getting into art in the first place. He's actually really, really good. I feel like an asshole forgetting his name right now. Hopefully it'll come to me. But he's also in a grindcore band with the other guy. Oh yeah, so no, his name Mark Richards. Mark
Okay.
Richards.
Mark Richards.
Heavy Hand is what he goes by. But no, this is actually a cover up. There's still a little bit that needs to be done, but nobody ever seems to notice. Um, Either way, back to just the other thing, fucking that whole situation, basically, because I'll tell you right now, what it really meant to me was this is what I'm doing with my life. I was a juggalo up until I met him, and I continued to be a juggalo after I left. That's for fucking sure. And we never worked together, but we didn't really have to, because my shit took a totally different trajectory where, like, after I came back from psychopathic, I can't even remember exactly what it was I was doing with my life, because it was literally I graduated from high school, I had summer, I went to the gathering, and I fucking went to Psychopathic Records that September. Not like right after my 19th birthday.
That's fucking crazy, dude.
Yeah, I fucking know. And that's what I'm saying is from there, I was just like, oh, well, this is what I'm doing with the rest of my fucking life. And here's the funny part is that my family was behind it. They were like, yeah, shit, go fucking do that. Awesome. Cool. They obviously didn't know enough about the culture because they fucking, it's just another rock group. My dad grew up around hippies and shit. My mom too. So it was just like, whatever, it's music, whatever. But one way or another, from there, my life just ended up bouncing from place to place. Ended up living in Delaware for a bit, because I was going to be I ended up in Philadelphia shortly after that, but I was in Delaware, Marcus Hook for a bit, with some people that I knew. And I don't think I ever met Cannibal, but I am certain that some of the people that I knew and hung with and was living with out there knew him and were friends with him because he was from Delaware. So that was like that era of being a juggalo was very like you still got a lot of hate for being a juggalo back then. Yeah. It wasn't like nowadays you can be a juggalo and people are like, oh, cool, whatever. But like back then, we were a fucking problem. People didn't like us. And as a musician on top of that, as a rapper anyway, like I always kind of had it where I didn't really tell people that I rap. Like I do now. Nowadays, if somebody asks, like, oh, I make music. Oh, really? What do you do? I rap. And because at this point, I'm like, the fact that I look the way that I do and sound like I do is totally part of the gimmick, if you will. So I from Philadelphia, that was Seventh Seal Entertainment. And then that kind of petered out just because, fucking Low Key was focusing on Low Key, which makes sense. But at the time, I was much more caught up in the idea that we were all friends. And that was the part of it that made it more difficult for me to accept, in so much as I wasn't really able to, I didn't feel like I had people behind me helping me, to create what I was doing. And at that point, if it was going to be like that, fuck it, I'm just going to go out on my own.
So you were just basically doing the Mission Infect stuff, like getting on a track here and there.
Also, no, the way that it actually worked out was I was down right at the very beginning, very, very, very beginning of the conceptual stages of Mission Infect. They had been talking about it. It was like a plan, and it was going to be like this big thing. And there was, Bad Luck was going to be a part of it. And fucking just like it was going to be this whole underground network. Because again, Low Key went out and did this shit for real. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it can't be understated that he just went out there and went and fucking got it. And to that end, I say that a lot. He was creating it, but I left right as it was getting started. I don't even think that on the original Infect shit you'll really find me. It was mostly repressed memories, and I think a couple of things after that.
Okay.
But eventually, after I left Philadelphia, I can't remember. I'm trying to remember at what period of time I went out to Colorado for a bit, because I did do that. I did live in Colorado and Denver briefly. I'm just trying to remember. I think that actually was 2004, 2005. Yeah, no, that you want to know what? It's 2005, because that was when In the Absence of Sanity came out. Because like there's so many ridiculous things. Like I remember I was buying beats from Low Key, and I didn't have a cell phone, and I had to keep calling him on the payphone so that we could like get connected, because I was giving him the money for these beats. And then the fucking police ran down on us like we were doing a drug deal, because they saw me on a fucking payphone, and they were like, "What are you doing?" Oh, that was the beats for In the Absence of Sanity. And then when I moved out to Colorado, that was when he came up with the idea for Devil's Rejects. And I mean, back then it was much more like,
I didn't even know Low Key and Stitch Mouth were connected.
I don't even know exactly how that connection took place. I got to be honest.
Stitch Mouth has a few things on Seventh Seal at the very beginning of his discography.
No, true indeed. What I mean here is that, like, I remember him from Christian Holocaust. That was the main track I remember from back then. And there was one time where Low Key and I just drove together all the way down to Tennessee to perform one show at whatever club, the same kind of shows that we do now, quite frankly. And it was just, there's a picture, and it's hard to find online, but it should be out there somewhere, of I had this shirt that said "Thou shalt not," but it was an upside down cross, and the T of the cross went through "not," which to this day I still think is extremely clever, and I don't think I've even seen. So fucking, if anybody fucking takes that shit, I have legal precedent now. Anyway, no, but the picture is so dope because the camera caught my eyes in the flash, so it's this glare, but just with the shirt with blood on it, it's a good fucking picture. But it's always a shame with me with Devil's Rejects, because we never really got a chance to do more with it, which mostly comes down to, at this point, Stitchmouth, I don't really know how much he's involved in doing anyway, but he apparently gave the blessing to do it without him. But even then, Wicked and I were down, but Loke always kind of, like, he had said we were going to do it, but then it just didn't end up happening. So, you know, it is what it is. It's not a big deal. It was great for the time, because again, that was like, to an extent, that's a moment in horrorcore. There wasn't a lot of shit going down like that.
I love Wicked supergroups. Like, have you heard Natural Born NBK, the Natural Born Killers, which is like Defect and Staples and V Sinister and all those guys?
Oh no, actually, I have not heard that.
Dude, it's fucking really good. Sick. It's a huge camp too. I think Gruesome might even be on one song, but
I can believe that.
Yeah, but those two albums are really good. Also, Sons of Satan. That was. Did you ever hear them? That was fucking.
I think so. I hate to say
that was Stitchmouth and Raven Hunter and Morbid One.
Well, so I do know those names, but my thing is, man, I am a major proponent of horrorcore. I create horrorcore, but I'm not a big consumer of it.
Yeah.
Like I'm not, and here's the thing, I don't even listen to a lot of music that I like. Like I said, I mostly listen to lo-fi and podcasts and comedy. Yeah. Or beats that I'm trying to write to. Excuse me. Outside of that, I don't know, for whatever reason, and it might be like, coping mechanism, trauma response, whatever. But I prefer to listen to stuff that's like.
Well, it's like how I heard a lot of comedians don't watch comedy movies, and you know what I mean.
Because most comedians are sad, fucking angry people,
or psychopaths.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's definitely the other part of it. But you want to know what? It was always a crazy thing with how I mean, again, getting involved in music the way that I did was so weird because I'm a Jewish kid from the suburbs.
Mm-hmm.
And then I ended up like fucking rocking with Low Key, where he was also a white kid from the suburbs, but his father was a Vietnam veteran. And that's at the very least. I won't even go into the rest, but he was like he was a biker basically. Like he knew like legit bikers. Like Sleepy from Temple Rain, I assume you know Temple Rain.
Mm-hmm.
So Sleepy from Temple Rain, his father was a pagan, I'm pretty sure. And fucking Green, Arkansas, he came from Little Rock. He was cripped the fuck out. Like these dudes put it down. It was a crazy environment. I remember driving around in Greenville and it's fucking chewing on the steering wheel, running red lights and shit. It was a crazy experience. And again, I came from such a world that was not that. Although I will say that I got the experience of like rap. My thing was the fact that I hung out with black kids that listened to hip hop. They didn't listen to Juggalo shit.
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't really know what ICP was. They thought it was weird fucking Satan shit that fucking Eminem hated. That was all they knew. And so but when I would rap around these guys, they would be like, yo, you can spit. And so at that point, it was like, fuck it. I'm going to keep doing this shit. And then I end up, again, like, after high school, get fucking flown out to Detroit to have this guy that you've been listening to and following since you were a teenager basically say, hey, the thing that I do, I think you can do it. Let's see what happens. And then nothing did. What's up, dude? Oh, all right, bud. All right. See you later, man. Well, this is a quick aside. Fucking the first show I ever did at the Palladium downstairs. And it was actually a co-headlining show between Joint Damage and Hightown Records, but that was where I met his mother. And fucking ended up in Massachusetts because I was living in Jersey City after, I'm trying to recall exactly the order of operations, but Colorado like didn't work out. Like it was kind of fucking just a negative situation. I think I was dealing with some fucking pretty profound depression, mental illness situations, which not for nothing. I think that actually does kind of speak to the fact that that's when I wrote Devil's Rejects, when I was in Colorado sitting on a crate working at 7-Eleven. Because it was, lots of periods of time, nobody comes in. You just sit around fucking doing whatever. And so I just remember just having it must have been a CD player. MP3 players weren't a thing back then.
Yeah.
But Devil's Rejects was just, like I said, I think it's a shame we weren't able to do more with it. But we ever do.
And then your album Sick Hop, that's like, you can't really find that. I mean, you can buy it on your site if you go on your webpage. But I was wondering about that one. How come that one's kind of not on streaming or?
I'm pretty sure it's on Bandcamp. However, the reason would be it's got a lot of industry beats and jack beats on it.
Oh, okay. I was wondering about that.
So the algorithm pulls it right down.
Okay. And
I'm actually shocked that has not happened with UTU yet. I mean, I'm genuinely shocked, but I'm not complaining about it.
Yeah, now that I know about like the production behind UTU, because I thought that you actually, because I didn't know about that it was actually an album, a cover. So I thought you actually had a live band. I was like, damn, that's some shit.
Man, someday, I hope. But it's also, I feel like you have to do it right.
Yeah.
Having a band is a really considered undertaking.
Yeah, and also you have to, I don't know, it's kind of like how Kung Fu Vampire did it for a little bit.
That's actually funny. Kung Fu Vampire, I think if he stayed a band, he would have been more popular.
Well, I actually like his stuff back when he had the orchestra and stuff at the very beginning. That was like my favorite era of him. But he stopped doing that because I think he wanted it to become more of like more about the person of him. And he kind of dropped the vampire thing too, so I don't really even know what's going on. But
Well, no, at this point, I got to be honest. I think that he maintains that name because at this point, he's done so much with it and has built so much equity into that name that it would be foolish to throw it away. To rebrand at that level, it's tough. It's definitely like I fucking briefly, because I got a wild hair across my ass after the Oklahoma City gathering, tried to say I'm just Maxx now. Not going to be Mad Max anymore. And then after a few months, I was like, yeah, that's fucking stupid. You're stupid for thinking that. Let's just go back to the way it was. And nobody complained.
Didn't Crossworm try to rebrand, or like not rebrand, but he had like a second name, Animal?
I think for a period. He did have a band for a while too. Okay. But it's just like it wouldn't be worthwhile, I think, to just drop all the equity from that name, because he's put a lot of material out as Kung Fu Vampire.
Yeah.
And I mean, again, I thought it was a really cool gimmick, and I seen him perform a few times, but I felt like as a rapper with the outfit, I don't know, it was definitely different. There was a period where I wanted to work with him, and he wasn't charging very much, but I definitely didn't have money back then. And it was, I don't know. I remember there was actually a funny story when fucking the 2016 gathering, this was ironically enough right around the time of where I made the comment that I made that eventually became the origin story of the Super Famous Fun Time guys. There's a picture of it somewhere, but the picture is terrible, so I try to fucking be rid of it. I was walking with Whipstick and 8 Legs, and Kung Fu Vampire walks up, and I can't remember exactly how the interaction went, but the one thing that I remember was I had mentioned to him that I wanted to work with him. I just didn't really have money at the time. And he was like, oh, okay, word, hit me up. Here's my email address. And then turned to 8 Legs and said, oh, hey, 8 Legs. Yeah, no, I've seen your work. You're great. Here's my phone number. And I was just like, oh, okay, no doubt. That's fun. Just because, that was very, it's like, okay, I get it. I can't make you a dope cover, but I don't know. It's, again, the whole thing is he has definitely done a lot of shit, quantifiably more than I've done, to the point where if I was going to get booked to play the gathering, I would have to submit my shit and be like, hey, I'd like to play. Thank you. Mm-hmm. If he's going to play the gathering, or at least this was the tweet that he posted, he would need to be asked to play, which I assume means he would ask them to pay him. And so at that point, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's something I always try to maintain. I really try to maintain humility with this shit about the fact of people call me a legend and they say like, oh, like you're so, you've been doing this such a long time. So, but I honestly, like I said, I got maybe 2,000 monthly listeners on Spotify. I'm not fucking popping. I also, most of the music that I've put out exists as MP3s and like one-off releases and downloads and CDs that people like. Not where the wild things are. In the absence of sanity. Matter of fact, give me 1 second. My bad. But so this right here is the only one left that I have.
Damn.
Fucking, and it's such a funny thing because being that it's a jewel case, no fucking CD store would take it. Nobody fucking wanted it. Huh. And I mean, I can't remember if it had a barcode or not, but the one cool thing, I don't know if you'll be able to actually see it. Let me see if I can get this right up to where the camera is. I don't know if you'll be able to see this, but it actually says Mad Max on the, let me find exactly where it says it.
That's dope, though.
So, like, yeah, it's up there fucking.
I'm getting so much reflection back from the monitor, but
Lame. Anyway,
Yeah.
but so I'll still never forget. Fucking, I was like, oh, it needed to come out at the end of February, and I said it was coming out February 29th. Because we're just like, it could have been February 30th even, I can't remember. But it was a date that didn't exist. So technically this never came out. It's just out. But no, so like, there were 1,000 of these, and that's it. And I don't know where all of them even are. A lot of them probably got lost to time, ended up in the garbage because I left them somewhere, and someone was like, oh, what the fuck is this? But a good amount of people have them, because I did continue to sell them as I had copies of them and my parents found them. But I am glad, though, that I at least have this one, just because, like, this is the one, like, it really is crazy to me that
I got mine right here.
Oh, wow, goddamn, 2000. Oh, 2008, 2008?
2008.
No, I remember that. I remember doing 09 is Mine. Ugh, that song wasn't very good. But I was living in Jersey City then. But it's like, it really is crazy how many different places I've gone and places I've lived and things that I've done just based on making music, which, like, I mean, again, it's a crazy thing. My parents have helped me out a lot in my life, but it's not like they just financed my existence.
Mm-hmm.
My dad did pay to have this fucking album recorded and produced and, you know, made the CDs made. But, you know what I'm saying? After that, that was basically it. It was just like, okay, made a CD. Awesome. There you go. Do you think? And I didn't know fucking nothing about music back then. So it was basically just walk around and tell people about it. Hey, yo, you like rap? Check this out. And my thing was that it was pretty rare that I played it for somebody and they weren't like, oh, wow, this is pretty good, man. Like, I don't have many reactions like that. The only people that have ever outwardly hated on my music are people that just wanted to basically tell me, fuck you. Because they didn't like me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't typically get like, I mean, it's like, it's all right, but you know what I mean? It doesn't tend to go that way. And
it's pretty impressive. I mean, right off the bat, when you hear your rap, you can tell that there's something different about it. You know what I mean?
You want to know what? After this long, I mean, the way that I did it, they say that you have to do something for 10,000 hours to become a master at it.
Mm-hmm.
And the way that I write rap is I think of words, like I just think of like bars just in my head. And I used to write on paper for a long time, but ever since like 2016 or so, I just don't. I write everything in my head and then just recite.
Do you ever type it on your phone?
Nope. Never.
Wow.
Nothing.
That's crazy.
And I also don't know how many people don't actually do that, because apparently, technically, that could be considered a freestyle. But all my album tracks that I've written since Where the Wild Things Are, including Where the Wild Things Are, have all been written. Heartless might have been written on paper, maybe. But almost all of that stuff was written in my head. And it was all out of utility, because it was just like, oh, I'm not going to be able to record this album ever. Or I'm not going to be able to write it ever, because all I do is fucking work. And then I go home and I'm dealing with kids. So I have to be able to find a way to record while I'm just kind of hanging out, because I'm not going to walk around writing. I just don't like doing that.
Yeah.
And so, I don't know. I feel like writing like that does keep me sharp. I will say that. But I don't know. With rap, like I said, the reason why I carry the horrorcore designation so close is I'm not trying to like hype myself up, but I genuinely do believe as a rapper I'm one of the better people that's ever done it. Yeah. I genuinely do believe that.
I do too.
And because that is true, horrorcore, this section of horrorcore, I don't really think that anybody has hit the mainstream vein like that yet. Like, whether or not the mainstream, like, I don't know, Mercury's got signed to Death Row. So that's definitely, Mercury's was super, super underground for a long ass time. And
I've never listened to him.
You want to know what my thing is? That he's just a really talented artist, whether or not you really like his shit. So I understand why he got picked up the way he did. But my point, I guess, you want to know who somebody is kind of in that direction is Jelly Roll.
Yeah.
Jelly Roll, super fucking underground. I remember meeting him briefly because he was on tour, I think, with ICP, and Psycho Jesus was working as his merch guy. And so Jelly Roll came up for real. And he deserves every piece of the fucking success he's got.
Yeah.
Like, and you know, and again, to that end, like a lot of these other people that whether I've worked with, not worked with, like, you know, Kung Fu Vampire in that case, Low Key, you know, Zul we were talking about earlier. All of these guys have worked really hard for the shit that they've got. You know what I'm saying? It can never be said that these guys were handed anything. Yeah. It can never be said that these guys were just like, oh, somebody's putting us on. It's like, if they ever had any support from any family or friends in putting something together, I don't think that that's all that uncommon or strange to begin with. But I think that in a lot of cases, for especially at least the people that I was talking about, that wasn't the case. I think in most cases they just had to do it on their own. Yeah. So I will say the majority of things that I've done I had to do on my own. But the you know, this right here, the jumping off point, obviously I did have some support with that. But like I said, this album was what gave me the ability to continue making horrorcore, because Class Time Horror is for sure a classic horrorcore track.
Yeah.
Like, for the fact that it came out when it did and things have happened the way that they've happened.
Lots happened since then, and it came out right after you were in high school, so it really kind of hits hard.
No, true indeed. That's like, it's funny. I may have talked about this before. I might not have, but there is I don't think I'll ever find it, but there was a book that has all my old lyrics, and I'm pretty sure the reason that I wrote Class Time. Oh, wait, no. I wrote Class Time Horror the way that I did because Low Key made the beat, and I heard it, and I was like, no, this is it. This is the song. But I had a totally different version of that song written, because I wrote it like without a beat, basically. Because I just wrote a song about, like, I'm going to fucking kill you people because of the whole, I don't know, again, UTU, I talk about it a little bit, but I got taken out of school in 8th grade because some kids were fucking with me on the bus, and I said, and I quote, "You guys are lucky I have self-control, because if I didn't, that Columbine shit would happen all over again." I was very upset, whatever. They made it a big deal, and they removed me from the school for a period, and then when they brought me back, I had like a dude walking around with me who, it turns out, was for my protection and not the school's. It was because they didn't want everybody, like, every time I go around a corner, oh, he's doing A, B, and C. So,
yeah.
But my dad was like, oh, well, make a song about where you kill him. They can't fucking do anything about that. I was like, word, I'm going to fucking do that.
That's awesome.
I did. And I'd like to think, I don't know that I caused any school shootings. I might have, but I know for a fact that I've prevented some.
Yeah, I'm sure
I know for a fact I've prevented some school shootings by making that song. I prevented, and it's a sad thing, because you know how I told you that thing about fuck life with people just type that into the search bar because they're feeling sad? It makes me sad. The original version, because this is, you can go on YouTube to this day if you search my name and you will find shit like this, because I'm not C&D'ing fucking anybody yet, but people will upload my songs because that's what people do when they're fans of music. They're like, I'm uploading this because I like it.
Especially in the earlier days of YouTube.
Oh yeah, no, there was a lot. That's how a lot of my music existed and was able to fucking propagate.
That's how I first discovered you, was on YouTube.
There you fucking go, man.
Random links.
And so, to that end, it really sucks that there was an account, and I think it was 500,000. I think. Could have been a little bit more, could have been a little bit less, and I think there was a few others that had a few 100,000, but it wasn't like anything big. I don't think it was even near 1 million, but the amount, it was at least 500,000-600,000 listens to Fuck Life. And I thought to myself, statistically, that probably means that somebody has killed themselves to this song. Statistically, it seems likely. But on the other hand, I could literally, and I've been thinking about doing this for like album skits and shit. either have somebody call in or like take the screenshots of. I literally cannot even. The amount of people that have directly credited me with preventing their suicide.
Mm-hmm.
That is a lot of fucking people. I like dozens over the years. So I lost count.
I'm assuming you probably get it like once every week or something still.
I don't talk to that many people, but the thing is that it still happens.
Yeah.
Every once in a while, somebody on YouTube will find me. They'll be like, "Holy shit, you're still around, man!"
Or if you look in the comments or something,
school, like, "Yo, you definitely helped like save my life, man." Like some people don't always use those words, but a lot of people do. Like at the hoedown last summer in West Virginia, there was somebody I was hanging with, and they were a fan, as they had told me, and somehow the conversation went in this direction. I was just like, hey, because there have been situations again where this has been true, where I was like, there are people who are parents that are fans of my music who they would not be here if I hadn't made it. And what does that mean to those kids? And then this kid I was sitting with was like, yeah, I know somebody whose kids' parents wouldn't be here if you didn't make music, me. And it's like, that's what I'm saying, man.
That's
in those
crazy.
Fucking moments, like, how do you? Which is why I said earlier it was a ridiculous notion that I said that I would stop making music, because it's like, and I've said this before, and I like to say it on record to keep myself honest, but like, when somebody tells you that shit, how do you stop? How do you justify not doing it anymore? I don't like, because it's not hard. I got the equipment. And now I got somebody down to help me make fucking whatever I want.
That's fucking amazing, too.
Whatever I want to make.
You're like a music-making machine now.
How do you stop at that point? And I will admit, I'm on a downswing right now. I haven't written anything. I'm pretty sure I wrote a collab verse the other day that was pretty good. Yeah, that was that shit for Scribble. That was pretty good. But he wants me to do another one. Like I said, man, I met my son's mother at the first Palladium show that I did out here. I met Dahlia's mother and Lily's mother, although I'm not Lily's father. We met online, basically through my music, through a music group of mine. And every person that I know, fucking my two roommates, Sean, I met when I first came out to Massachusetts in 2008. I wasn't really doing much, but I was like writing and trying to, move in that direction. And then Chris, he was doing shows out here in the Brockton area, right around here, because that's where he's from. When I first came out here working with Hightown and shit, every single person I know in my life that is not directly related to me is through music. Everything that I have done in my life, everything that I have, comes from this, basically.
That's fucking awesome.
Like this album that's where it started, and then fucking get to like and like I said, it's so crazy that it brings me in these directions. Like somebody who I'm pretty sure you wanted to discuss, and I feel like this is a good end to it. I remember a couple of years before I got the invitation, my homeboy, Bernardo out in Colorado, big fan, real cool guy, solid dude. Motherfucker, now is the wrong time. Silly feline fuck. In any case, so he said something to me offhandedly once about fucking Playboy the Beast is thinking about having you work with Murder Music. And Murder Music was also, I want you to bear in mind, much more popular and well-oiled at the time. I can't remember exactly what the fucking roster was when he said that, but I kind of didn't think anything of it because Billy seemed very inaccessible at the time. And I came to find that one of the main reasons that that's true is because, and I do also understand this, being that I have a lot of people that I care about that have been institutionalized. He self-isolates a lot. He doesn't really go out a lot because there's a lot of variables outside. And if you know you're going to react a certain way, then you just get to like, fuck it, I'm going to take myself away from it. So I definitely understood that part of it. But that was the reason why I went out and did the Halloween show in Colorado, which that's a source of ire in many different directions. But I did that because that was an opportunity to get to meet Billy and be like, hey, I'm fucking trying to make this happen. Because again, it was so random. Like, Bernardo hit me up again and told me about that. And then I was like, oh, really? Okay. Because they were pretty popping at the time. The Devil's Knock is a great song. It's a really good track. And fucking, it didn't even seem like it was real at the time. But then the homie Renegade, Clifford Smith, who he fucking super solid individual. Some of the best songs I've ever done were with him. He was like, yeah, I'm working with these guys. And at that point, it's like, oh, then you come recommended. If Renegade is working with these dudes, I'm sold. I think these guys are cool. And it was really helpful at the time because it put me in the vision of a lot of different people. Because that was right before I started making any moves with Long Live Evil, because Long Live Evil wasn't even really a thing that much back then. Yeah. They weren't really a company. It was more just a crew. But fucking when that, like, when I went off to Colorado and, did that, tried to, prove, hey, I'm here. I'm trying to do this shit. I'm trying to make it happen. You know what I mean? It, like, Murder Music didn't work out because there were too many working parts for it to be a nationwide crew. There's way too many people and way too much going on to coordinate all that. So the fact that we were able to make the Gathering performance happen, I think, was pretty impressive. I got to be honest, that we were all able to make it out there. And it was a little bit crazy that Billy decided not to go. But, I mean, it's like, whatever, basically. I will also say the main thing about Murder Music for me was that it put me in touch with a lot of the best people in the underground that you could possibly work with, i.e. fucking Legion and FAMS. Like, playing the Gathering was basically how we met. Playing the Oklahoma City Gathering, and they fucking thrashed that shit. And, I hung with them for a while. They were super cool dudes. And that whole situation was crazy. It was all the fact that fucking Scum came to watch. Scum, Liquid Assassin, Psycho, and Class all came to watch our set. That was one of the coolest fucking. They so did not have to do that. I almost had heat stroke on that fucking stage. Lord knows they must have been hot too. They didn't have to fucking do that, but they did it. And that, like, that's why, regardless of whether or not anybody really, like we make songs together that much or they fuck with me that hard, that's why I always am going to have respect for these people, because when it really does come down to it, these people will fucking show through and be like, yeah, I'll fuck with you. And you want to know what? Potentially, anyway, I can't talk about that yet. But one way or another, man, like, the fact that Billy actually went to because I got to tell you, when that happened, I didn't initially believe that it was true. I thought that it was just that, like, because I didn't hear nothing about him going, but I was like, oh, this would definitely be a thing he would do. I mean, being that he tattooed Proud Boy across his fucking head. But just, like, I at first thought that it was just, they're saying that he was there because he looks like 1,000 people that would go, and he believes all that shit. But then it turned out that he really did it. Like, when he started doing that shit, like, super pro-Trump, because I'm pretty sure that we were around during that time.
It was around probably 2018 when I think he started making the music videos about Trump and stuff.
Well, not even the music videos, but he did the fucking, right after Self-Made, Self-Paid, he was doing, I'm pretty sure that was right around when that happened. And my thing is, I don't judge people's fucking politics. My sister's husband loves Trump. Loved Trump.
Mm-hmm.
And he's Jewish. That's fucking weird, but whatever. Yeah. We ain't mad at him. We love him. I never judged his politics, and especially there was a couple of situations where, like, he almost fucking kicked me off the label because I was dissing Mr. Licks. Because Mr. Licks was his homie.
That's another thing, like, I was wondering about, because that diss track's, like, that's good. Like, you slammed him.
I do like that one. But no, so the whole thing was, I remember, I'm pretty sure I still got the messages somewhere, where he was basically like, it doesn't look good that you're dissing my homie, basically. That's the long and short of it. And I was just like, that seems a little fucking off, don't you think? That a guy, you got a guy on your label who is a Jew, outspoken, Holocaust Jew, in fact. And this guy made a song called Nazi where he threw a Jewish dude into an oven, and he's going to diss him, and then you kick him off your label. You don't think that that's not good? Like, that's probably a bad look. I don't think that's going to be good. And I mean, to his credit, I didn't end up leaving at that point, but he did essentially, like, he was just like, this is just how I feel. And it was just, again, I could feel fucking salty about it, but what fucking good does that do? I'm mad at the guy. He did. First of all, nothing ever happened where he crossed me. I lost money. I lost face. I mean, the whole fucking label shuffle was a weird situation, but I mean, again, it was just the kind of thing where Murder Music was a great idea in theory. And then it became, like I said, there were too many working parts, too many artists, too much going on that to make it work solidly. The other big thing about Murder Music was that introduced me to Sleep Lyrical. Sleep is one of the dopest motherfuckers on the planet. I don't genuinely feel like I have ever bodied him on a song. Like, I've worked with a lot of people, and there are plenty of times where, like, I killed the fucking track for sure.
Every time he's on a track, because I'm not too familiar with him, so every time he's on a track, I'm like, who the fuck is this?
Sleep Lyrical. Dude, I'm telling you.
Every time.
Every verse I've ever heard him do, he fucking thrashes the shit. He does not spit lame verses.
Is he part of Mission Infect? No,
he was accepted by UPS and Mission Infect, but he was never actually a part of it.
Okay.
He was basically he came around to the UP festivals and he was down with the crew, but it was never really official. But that was mainly because he was just doing his own thing. Quite frankly, if those were both active fucking operations still, he'd have my fucking vote to be an open member, because not only is he fucking one of the dopest rappers alive, but he's real as fucking shit. I remember him saying something when I hung with him at UPS. He was talking about like him talking to Billy, because I mean, if you've ever seen Sleep Lyrical, he's a real big dude, real fat guy, and Billy is cock diesel, and his Sleep was just like his Sleep basically saying to Billy, like, bro, you ever try to fuck with me, I will not fight you, I will just shoot you. And fucking his Sleep was hood as fucking hell, dude. Like, that's another thing about horrorcore that I really love, is the fact that the people that are really gang deep in this shit are mostly people that have had fucked up lives and have had to live in some manner of poverty or shitty situation, or come from some kind of struggle. For me, it was kind of different, because I did grow up, suburban as shit, but my grandfather survived the Holocaust. So that's fucking whole other level shit. Generational trauma is fucking real. So like, I was introduced to horror just by the very nature of my existence. I got in trouble for drawing guns in like second, third, fourth grade, something like that. Drawing guns, and because I saw Happy Gilmore and it said "Guns don't kill people, I do" on the dude's shirt, and so I drew that and I got in trouble. And then my father sat me down and gave me the most graphic description ever of like a village being run through by the Nazis.
Damn.
And he's like, "That's your history, and you think you're gonna walk around talking about guns and violence and shit?" And it turned out the answer was yes, but at the time I didn't really understand that. I mean, again, it's
sometimes the point isn't like, sometimes he had the right point, but like I'd say he'd be proud of the outcome of what happened either way.
You want to know? I did a song. It's on Will Not Stop, called Freiheit, where I talk about that. Where I do think, knowing my grandfather and knowing the way that people talk about him, I think that he would be proud of what I've done. Mm-hmm. With everything, because I mean, above all else, I'm a good father, and that's the main thing that fucking means anything to me. But through music, I've been able to like do genuine good.
Yeah.
And beyond even that, man, like, I don't really come around being like, y'all need to give me credit and shit. But trust me when I tell you that horrorcore as it is, because if we're going to look at the people that were influenced by who they were, like, you know, I remember when they put out the Almighty, Zool listed, you know, like the Flatliners and Low Key and fucking, you know, I'm trying to remember who the other one was that they, Insane Poetry, which, again, all of those make sense. But first of all, Insane Poetry, the Psycho, I've had the conversations with him where it blows my fucking mind that he knows who I am and fucks with me. Like, that's crazy to me. But fucking, again, I'm not going into the specifics of it out of respect, but the reality is that lyrically, nobody was doing it before, like the way that I was doing it when I showed up. Because the Juggalo scene was all metalheads, like all fucking metalheads that also liked rap. And I was a metalhead that also liked rap, but I had something of a lyrical edge. And I'm not saying that any, like, because like I said, all of these fucking different people from all different sides of fucking horrorcore have put in a lot of work over the years. All I'm saying is that the people that I know for a fact, 100% without any question, that I have influenced their style directly, they're not going to admit it. Because to admit it would put me on their level. Or above their level even, and nobody's going to do that. But the fact is that the way that I spit, the kind of concepts and the kinds of songs that I did in 2004, 2005, I'm not saying I was a pioneer. I wasn't the first to fucking do this. Not by a long shot. LU Cypher exists. LU Cypher was fucking dope hip-hop on, or like, even fucking PCP and shit.
Like, if you look at nerdcore and stuff, concept albums that nerdcore artists were doing. Oh, yeah.
Well, but this is all I'm saying is that I don't expect to get my flowers until, like, I'm going to get my flowers when my gravestone is a historical site. Because it's going to be a long time before, because I don't know, man. I look at it where, like I said, for horrorcore specifically, frankly, I would be happy not getting my flowers specifically personally if horrorcore as a genre could. Because I think there's too much like solid artistic exposition and offering in horrorcore, like, because I mean, again, even in like some shit like August Underground, like the guy that created that shit would argue very strongly, I think, that he is an artist and that he's not just some sick fuck that's trying to do some awful, disgusting shit to upset people and whatever. That this is meant to do something specific. Mm-hmm. And I mean, for me, I'll be completely honest, horror to that extent, the only purpose that it serves for me personally in that grander sense is inspiring me to more properly protect that which I love and those who I love. Because the idea that that kind of horrible shit happens. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that kind of horrible shit exists. So you need to know that you can, maintain.
That's why I love those movies, because it's like you're almost surviving through them.
True indeed. I mean, that's the whole idea behind, like, McCamey Manor type shit. You know what I mean? I'm not a fan of that place personally. I really don't like it.
Yeah, the place is a little jacked up.
My problem is this: that you have to sign your life away, and they're literally able to say we can do whatever we want to you. My problem is that if that's what you want, and that's the thing that you can do, anybody can fucking do that. That's just torture.
Yeah.
Like, you mean to tell me that we're going to be creative torture? There's all kinds of different shit that you can do if you have any amount of actual creativity. The only problem is most people don't want to do that to people. That most people don't feel like, oh, yeah, let me go traumatize this person for the rest of their life. So every time they smell eggs, they vomit and run away crying. Like, okay, good. Congratulations. You did good. I don't know. Yeah. Like I said, I feel like the idea of shock, it's only valuable if you are trying to, like, really solidify your material. And I mean, again, I think that it depends in the sense of like, because I also, obviously, it would come off as a little hypocritical for me to just completely slam shock rap or shock horror when I have made songs like fucking Sociopath and Carl Panzram.
That's what I was going to say. That's one of my favorite songs of yours.
Both of which I perform regularly. Like, believe me, the titillation aspect is heavy, and I do enjoy ignorant fun. So please don't let me, because I'm realizing, I may come off a little fucking pretentious, but I just, again, horrorcore has been a thing in my life for such a long time that.
Because I know there's a Trauma fan deep in you. I know that there's a.
Well, no, dude, let me tell you something. One of my favorite movies of all time is Hobo with a Shotgun.
Yeah.
That is easily one of the best movies ever made because it is exactly what it says that it is. Everything about that movie is right up front. And it is a level of like just that kind of grit on screen. Like, man, I remember when I could have been 8. I could have been 10. Who knows? I found a VHS of the Rocky Horror Picture Show and I enjoyed watching that. But before that, my parents had recorded Pink Flamingos from John Waters.
Oh.
Yeah, exactly. I watched that whole fucking thing as a young kid, right up to and including eating the dog shit at the end. And it's like...
Well, I have an egg phobia, so you can see how that movie fucks me up.
I know you want to know what? I don't remember it so well as to remember the exact reference here.
Oh, there's a fat chick in a baby crib eating a huge plate of fried eggs, and it will make me throw up if I see it. That's funny what you mentioned about being scared of eggs earlier, like about McCamey Manor, because you said that, and I'm like, that's me.
Oh, that's so fucking funny. Oh, man. Synchronization.
I don't fuck with eggs, man.
At an all-time high. No, again, the idea that horrorcore itself has given me the kind of life that it has, like something that so many different people have told me is like, why do you do this music? Like, why do you do this kind of shit? You could do any other kind of music. My thing is, I'm trying to find some fucking label head or some whatever that'll be like, hey, write me a song about da 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 da, and then I just write it and they pay me and that's it. That's like my dream, literally. And then I can just fucking make the shit that I want to make on my own time. Like, because again, like rap is just, you got to spend 10,000 hours mastering something. And I have spent the majority of every day since high school pondering lyrics. And now I write my lyrics in my head.
Do you ever meditate?
Kind of. It depends on what your definition of meditation is. I meditate a lot driving because I drive long distances a lot. And so I find a lot there.
I do that
but
too.
I probably should meditate more. I just honestly, with ADHD, I always find myself all over the place.
I've never been able to. I've tried so hard to meditate, but I can't focus. So it is hard. But I would just imagine with all those words in your mind and stuff, like you need to take a break once in a while.
No, for sure. I mean, that's video games.
Gotta drive you nuts.
Well, but I also I'll write lyrics while I'm driving. I'll write lyrics while I'm working. Like I just write lyrics in passing while I'm doing shit. Usually, even if I'm writing at home, I'll be pacing around my house with my earbuds in. Like I don't sit at a table and write stuff down. I have to be actively doing something.
So what are you doing on your free time when you're not doing music and stuff?
Honestly, just working, taking care of the family, fucking seeing friends when I can, trying to. There really isn't much else other than that because most of the people that I see, barring a very select few, I know through music and I interact with through music. And most of the time that I get to spend away from away from the family is doing music.
Music's kind of your hobby and your job as well. So
I mean, more or less. I mean, again, it's they say do what you love and you'll never work a day in your life.
Yeah.
And it's I'm trying to get to a point where I make enough money with it that it can be my full-time job. But we're still a ways off from that, or at least we are a watershed moment away from that, perhaps. But I honestly have faith in the sense that any fucking notoriety that I have is organic. I don't know how to fucking market. I walk around and hand my shit out. That's all I've ever done. shared shit on Facebook. You know what I mean? I don't even know exactly how to market things, really. I haven't had the budget to go to anybody to do it legitimately. I've never really worked with any kind of label. I've never done anything like that. I just make music. That's fucking just make it and put it out.
That's
Like
awesome.
fucking the Halloween is over video maybe has 1,000 views now. Maybe the kike video before I took it down only had like 4.5, 5. Fucking why can't I think Dying on Acid doesn't have that much? Like that's why again I try to be humble about this shit. I like people can call me a legend all they want, but I'm a legend of how well you rap matters.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, to a lot of rappers and a lot of people in the music industry, how well you can rap don't matter. They don't care.
Yep.
So at that point, I look at it where that's why I take a lot of pride in how well I can rap, because I know for a fact you put me in a room with literally any rapper on earth, and they're going to be impressed by the time I'm done. That's how it's going to happen.
It's just strange because if you listen to a couple Mad Max albums back to back, and then you go outside in my apartments and listen to the music that's booming out the cars and stuff, and the lyrics and stuff that's in the mainstream music, it's nothing in comparison. It's not. Your music is so rich with lyrical content, but you listen to pop music or even just what's popular on SoundCloud or whatever people are listening to now, it's a lot of auto-tune, it's a lot of drug references, but there's no like stories being told. Like, I don't know. I just can't think of anyone that does that now. Maybe they who Kendrick Lamar might or something.
I would say definitely stuff in that direction. I mean, you want to know what it is? Everybody is just trying to get up on a quick buck, and with music and the algorithm, there are ways to game it. So it's like I do understand the nature of pop music. The problem is that with rap being so, rap has the ability to form fit into so many different fucking genres. Like you can put rap in anything that has rhythm, you can put lyrics on it. And so at that point, so much of what rap is part of pop culture now. And the same with fucking the fashion and whatnot. That's for a fact. And it's just like rap has always been about bravado and bragging and shit, but it got to a point where that was basically all that mattered. And it feels like the only people that are doing music like what you're talking about are the people that really care about it, and that's a few. Toby Nwigwe is kind of in that direction. He's good. But most of the people that are really famous, they're just, they're trying to make entertainment music. They're not like, because people don't want to think. They want to party. Yeah. They just want to have fun. They don't want to think that much. And that's where I want to start making, some more music like that. That is more, when people just want to dance and want to have fun, because I got the rhythm to do it. You know what I mean? So
yeah, and you have messed around with stuff like that, like lighter stuff before, but
oh yeah, for sure.
But I definitely think your strength is your strength is your conceptual songs. Like,
well, thanks.
Nobody does it like you.
There was a song that I did for a contest for Godsend, where it was called This That Shit. I'm pretty sure it was on the Painted Ronin. The homie Ari Chusitz the other day, I had to go get a cut. And, a shave anyway. And he was fucking telling me that he thought that song was really good. And that was a song where, like, I like it, but I didn't really think that people, like, fucked with it like that. Because that was a song that I really just tried to, again. That's all. As mainstream songs go, that one is basically that. Like, no shit. And I think that, like I'm saying, I would love to make music like that, but I need to be put in the room with people that are already doing it. Because if you give me the chance to make the song I want to make, I got too much crazy shit going on up here. I'm a crazy person. I'm mentally ill. I'm going to fucking go left field. If you give me some direction and tell me what you want to do, then I will be able to, like, form fit it. Like, tell me what cadence you want. Tell me what the fucking beat structure you want it to sound like. Tell me, where you want it to switch up, where you want the other voice to come in. You know what I mean? Like, I could do all that shit. Yeah. But the fact is, rap is still so new in the grand scheme as far as, like, music is concerned, that like you can't get hired. I mean, maybe you can, but I don't think you can get hired at like Fox or Cartoon Network as a resident rapper.
Yeah.
I've noticed that most of the shows on Cartoon Network where they got decent rappers, they actually bring rappers into the show.
Yeah.
Like people that are actually rappers already. And
Yeah.
I don't think that they're usually, you know what I mean? Like, so at that point, I'm just like, that's why I said, man, I'm always going to make horrorcore music to some extent. But there's so much more to be done. And I'll tell you right now, horrorcore music is not the road to the horror industry. I know that for a fact. You know how I know that? Because connect the horrorcore act to the movie studio. Which one? Who? No, which one? Like, which movie studio is fucking with which horrorcore rapper?
I don't know. None?
You don't know because none.
None.
Because no one's doing it.
Yeah.
Any movie like that, they will get rappers and get their songs. Hey, we like this song. We're going to put it in here. Hey, the closest. Oh, that's sad. The closest that anybody could say is going in that direction is Zool. They're the only ones that have gone that far.
Is who?
Zool.
Axe. Oh, what?
They're the only ones that have gone that far with like doing Camp Zool, because Terror Town is a legitimate haunt, and they've done some film stuff. I don't know if they've done it with any particular film studios, but they worked with Bill Moseley, and like to that end, cinematically with what they're doing, they actually are going in that direction. They're the only ones thus far that I've seen do that. But
I would love to see like a big money Rustless thing, but like just underground horrorcore acts playing the rappers as characters.
That's kind of what I'm saying. Is there was actually talk of trying to make something like that happen. I want to do something like, maybe not even horrorcore, but I've always wanted to do something where it's like, not a play exactly, but stage work. I mean, maybe videos or whatever, but like where the dialogue is rapping, because I can do that.
Mm-hmm.
The way, like I said, I rap the way that I rap the way that I talk. I just write the way that I put words together. So I very much hope I can do something like that someday, like a Devil's Carnival kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Or like even like what Mac Lethal does. He has his own channel where he does conceptual stuff.
I mean,
it's a little corny, but
cool. Mac Lethal is definitely, like a unique talent for sure. Yeah. But
he has his moments.
No, for sure. I don't know. I kind of, because again, for me with horror, I feel like if I was going to be able to do like when I want to write stuff, because I do want to, get into writing screenplays and, writing dialogue, making movies, shit like that. But the stuff that I make, it's mostly not horror based. Like I have a couple of ideas that I've been piecing together. One is kind of like steampunky, semi Mad Max, semi Judge Dredd, whatever, and then the other one is like a buddy comedy, and fucking the other one is like I mean, if I had it my way, single shot 30-minute, but 2-person character work, like mostly just dialogue. But
Did you ever see that movie Creep?
I don't think so.
Oh, it's a 2-person horror movie.
You know what that actually
found
makes
footage.
me think of?
It was made by Mark Duplass.
No, I know what you're talking about, and it makes me think of another movie that was French that was in that vein, which is called Man Bites Dog.
I love that movie.
That was an interesting one. That one definitely had some fucked up moments, but that movie, when it was explained to me what it was supposed to be, was what made me love it.
Mm-hmm.
Because it was making fun of reality TV, and like the part where they're chasing the kid for like 10 fucking minutes through the fucking field and shit, like that's what I mean. That makes me feel a little bit differently about, like, I'll have to watch The Green Inferno again, because again, the way that movie was presented to me, I was made to believe like he was trying to one up Cannibal Holocaust, and it turns out that all that shit was just meant to be tongue in cheek.
I guess, yeah. Pretend like it's not a Eli Roth movie, maybe. Pretend like it's a 70s movie that you found in the bargain bin.
No, fair enough. fucking was there so were there any other points that we didn't cover that you wanted to
No,
like
I
anything?
mean that's about it. I think we could leave it off there, and then we're definitely gonna have you back on the show. I think we're both getting tired. I mean, we've been on the phone for a while, but
No, same, dude.
yeah, let's do another show for sure sometime down the road after Kaleidoscope comes out, if that sounds good to you.
No, absolutely. That will be. I mean, it's. I don't have the exact date nailed down yet, but it's definitely going to be in the fall. Hopefully, the earlier fall, if all goes well. But no, I do very much appreciate you having me. And again, I'm always glad to do anything to promote the culture of horrorcore because this is literally my entire life.
Dude, thank you so much for your time, and also thanks to your family for their time. That means a lot.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, man. Honestly, usually they have no problem just leaving me alone for long spans at a time while they, dive into electronics. But they're aware that I make music, and I don't really let them too far in yet because fucking obviously. But it is getting to a point where, like I said, Kaleidoscope is going to be a very personal album, and a lot of that is related to my family. So,
are you gonna have any murder tracks on there, or is it gonna be just all personal?
Yeah, kinda. You want to know what? I actually just decided today I'm not going to put "Dying on Acid" on the album just because that and "Kike," which again I removed that the other day for that's a fucking story for another day, but. They were just, I made them at the time because I hadn't had videos in so long and I wanted to have a fucking video so badly.
Just super aggressive.
I'll probably release Dying on Acid as a single at some point because the track's not actually downloadable at the moment. You can only see it on hear it on the video, but Kaleidoscope again, there's a little bit of that shit. I have to see if there's any actual murder. There might not be, honestly.
Hey, man, I can go without it. I think I commented on one of your things the other day. I'm like, Maxx is one of those rappers because I'm one of those people that I love horrorcore, man. Like, I don't listen to a whole lot else. Like, Wu-Tang is my bread and butter. I like a few other things, but, like, overall.
Not for nothing, man. That's one of the big reasons that I do things like this, like why I will sit in my basement in the dark for 2.5 hours talking about music and fucking what I've done over this time, because I very much recognize the fact that, like I said, I don't consume that much horrorcore, but I know a lot of people that consume a lot of horrorcore. And these are real people with real lives, and they have time, and they only have so much of it, and they choose to spend it fucking listening to my music. Whatever I can do at that point, as long as I'm not fucking putting myself out somehow. And like I said, kids are fed, school's just about over, they're happy to stay up late, they don't care. So you know what I mean? Like at this point, I'm always glad to fucking do something for horrorcore culture. Yeah, and it's a funny thing because I did, and I'm not even saying this because I care if people fuck with me, but I know not as many people fuck with me as they should, because like I said, crabs in a bucket, man. Everybody wants to be the cool guy out here. Nobody wants to just fucking actually do shit for the culture. It's all about being the cool guy for the culture. Yeah. And I am so not that. Not even a fucking little bit.
Me neither.
Well, hey, bro.
But again, yeah, man.
It was a pleasure being on here. Definitely fucking, like I said, I'm glad to come back after Kaleidoscope is done. I'm also glad to come back any other time in between. If, like I said, you want to get fucking J-Hex over here, you want to get fucking whoever else, man. This is, doors always open.
Word. Yep. I'm coming up with ideas. I want to grow this show. I want to grow it as a community if possible too. So yeah.
Man, like I told you, hiphopzombies.com. I'm trying to
I'm going to look
that into a more of a platform than just a website. Because I mean, the website would have my music, my socials, my merch, and then also Reverend Television. But like I said, we're trying to get this thing started where we start an interview podcast and start, making that happen more. And then with this, I feel like this is less of an interview podcast and more of a this
is a deep dive show.
Well, that's what I was going to say, a discussion podcast. That's not as much of.
This is like going really deep into the careers of the artist and like and picking their brains less.
True indeed, man. That's, and because I also will say that I do think that this method of, because again, I don't know that this would have been an interview necessarily. It's more so just like, again, like I said, like a deep dive. So I mean, I do, because I'll tell you right now, I haven't really tried to call the favors in, so to speak, but there's a good amount of artists that I fuck with who I know that if I'm behind it, they're going to be like, oh yeah, no, I'm down to do that. Cause I don't know, some people, like Low-Key is a perfect example. He's pretty notoriously hard to get on shit. Yeah. You either got to pay him pretty well to get him to be interested in what you're doing, or you got to be real tight with him. Otherwise, you got a real bad chance of him getting back to you. And that's one of those things where, like, I want to start interviewing some of these people, because again, I don't give a fuck. I will ask people uncomfortable questions at this point. Last
Psycho
year,
Jesus, I think, would be another good one to have. Honestly.
Oh yeah, no, I will absolutely. That motherfucker told me he would do a verse for me forever ago, and especially since the only thing that we're actually doing is doing Zoom like this.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way he can tell me no. Like, do it while you're fucking driving Uber, motherfucker. I don't care.
Yeah, for sure.
Make it happen so you can do it.
For sure.
But no, I'm saying, man, I definitely think that's something that I would be super interested in doing that. So if you have any ideas you want to bounce off me, fucking, I'm always open, always around. So yeah, dude, again, thank you so much for having me. This was real cool, and I look forward to doing it again.
All right, thanks.
Rock and roll, man. Yeah, I honestly, yeah, no, I know I'm supposed to plug shit. I'm so bad at that. Do you know how many times I've done shows and not mentioned once I was fucking selling shirts?
Yeah, don't worry about it. The links will be at the bottom of the description.
No, and I appreciate that very much. I'm just saying, like, no bullshit. That's always been my way. Like, I'll go up on stage, spill my guts out, and then just be like, all right, bet. See y'all. Thanks, man. And then, like, occasionally mention that I have a fucking shirt or a CD to sell.
Or, like, leave your merch in your car or something.
Oh, my God. Over and fucking over again.
Yeah.
Oh, my Lord. See, that's what I'm saying, man. And, that's another one of these reasons. And, we will leave on this point. But I know for a fact that's one of the main reasons why I was not able to get a lot, get further in some senses, is that, like, I never wanted to put people out and be like, yeah, go without for my shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, come be my merch guy for free, basically. I'll give you a fucking few bucks and I'll buy you dinner. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to do that. I want to actually be able to fucking do it correctly. And you need to fucking get to a certain level before you do that. Yeah. But, no, again, I'm going to get out of here, man. It has been a pleasure. And, yeah, I will, I'll talk to you again soon, I'm sure.
Peace, man. Have a good one.
All right, peace.
As long as you remember that the real world is waiting for you out there when the track is over.
People often forget there are people who survived, those who died in war, crime, poverty, and genocide. Society's eyes closed. They don't think about the cold ride. So many are taking every day with a slow stride. For many in meeting death, there's no pride. The way it happened gives a family nothing to go by. It happened, it was tragic, and what's worse, nobody knows why. Even when they do, it don't help. Like they won't cry, frame pictures and go visit graves, just so the memory stays and does not fade. Hoping all the hatred and rage washes away. How could it happen? The one you loved isn't with you today, so unnecessarily taken away. Nothing was accomplished at all, everything is the same. Now with all this pain, you are expected to stay on this earth all alone and do nothing but suffer and pray. Put it this way, the DC sniper, Virginia Tech, Columbine, those were crimes for which the nation knew well. But now that some years have been passing, tell me who's really checked on the families of the victims and how they dealt with the death of their children. What you think wicked shit is a game, little one? Let me explain. You should be afraid. I do wicked shit because I'm afraid if I let it stay up in my brain, it'll explode one day in a vicious way. I'm a husband and father, I can't have it, but even so, morbid fantasies are a bad habit. I go crazy for horror movies and true crime drama, conspiracy theories ranging from Babylon to Obama. But this is entertainment, what I'm saying. I make tracks that expose my deepest fears and my hatreds and loves I done said like a million times I ain't a killer yet.
out there need to recognize that there is a difference between entertainment and reality. All this shit is fun to listen to, and it's fun to feel that anger and that hatred for a little while. But if you start releasing that onto the real world, you're not gonna be able to put it away again. And trust me when I tell you that you can't handle that.
You think being insane is fun? Mental illness is cool? You say it's schizophrenic to all the people at school? Well, actual schizophrenics see demons and dogs and cats, and to stop them they think they gotta drown them in a swimming pool. You don't know the first about the horrors of reality. You romanticize graphic lies and fallacies. If you ever found yourself within an atrocity, actually you shit your fucking pants and just become a casualty. I do this wicked shit, but I don't do it casually. I respect the wicked, cause I recognize the gravity. Every single murder has a victim. Every victim has a mother and father, a husband, a wife, even children. But to you, it was just a sick line or a story that was fucked up, insane, gratuitous, and gory. For them, it was a vile tragedy that just fucking ruined their life. The person that sat to the right in the car is gone. They'll never be back. How is it right that this is what we rap about and write, when most of us never had it as a part of our life? We just thought it was cool, but at the end of the night, I truly believe that karma puts you where you need to be. But it's a choice to throw your life away needlessly. I don't care if anybody is believing me or how you've been perceiving me. The only thing that I can be is me.
This song is dedicated to Melanie Wells, Emma Niederbach and her family, Tim McLean, and Michael Hamill. Others might forget, but I won't. The underground is always watching, and the underground can wait forever.